Okay, here we go. So now we're now into the section just after the helicopter fight, where we're heading for the auto gun and the sort of toxic zombie area. That's more of that horrible skin for the zombie that I did. Okay, I mean this is kind of fun. So we can't really see what's going on, but the zombies are bashing away on the other side of the door. You kind of get the gist. And you start getting rid of these, and you're like, and there he is. So this is on my Freeman Pontifex level review. Sort of piece. I was looking at it, and there was a zombie very much like this one who was just kind of bashing away at a door, and you had all the time in the world. You know, so here you are. You can look through this window. You can see fully what you're about to get yourself into. It's all hanging out there, and so you know you've got the all the time in the world to make your assessment, make your plan as to what you want to do, how you're going to deal with this situation, and then finally execute your plan. So I've decided that I'm going to open the door. Oh, am I? Hang on. Maybe I've forgotten how to do this. There we go. And I knew I was going to use the saw blade. I didn't realise I had to gravity gun that. So, you know, they've given you some stuff that you can stay in here, stay relatively safe, but pick off the zombies. You know, or if you want to dive back out there, you can do, and do what you need to do. This is once again, you know, we get into our zombie torture fun playground. There isn't really a lot of challenge here. And I've had several people say, well, I don't really do zombie levels because they aren't really challenging. It's true, but that's okay. Well, it should be okay. Go away. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a strong argument to be made about challenge, and I don't think a level has to be challenging. I think it has to be fun, and sometimes fun comes from something very challenging where you want to keep trying and succeed. And sometimes fun comes from being mean. Sometimes fun comes from don't know, just playing silly little games that you've set up for the player to play around with. I think it's okay to play around with this stuff. I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. Oh, I know, it's up here, isn't it? Or is this just a bonus bit? Oh no, here we go. So then we get to see our area, and we've talked about this before on other levels, which is, you know, show the player the lay of the land first of all. Show them what they're about to get themselves into. Don't just drop them into the middle of something. The more you can give them the ability to understand the geography of the area they're about to move through, the more fun they're going to have, and also the more it will be down to their skill and their choice as to whether they succeed or not. That's brilliant, isn't it? There's so many good things, and actually what amazed me about episode 2 is just the amount of new things they managed to come up with for the zombies, without really adding to, I mean, they added some extra animations and stuff like that, but for the most part they just found new and very intelligent ways of using what they already had. And I think that's I think what I've found is that there are still lots and lots of things that you can do in this game that haven't been done before. There's such a what they've given us with the hammer editor and all of the entities is really a tool set that you can make games out of, and it's very different from lots of other games. I think the only other thing that would come close is Skyrim with the creation kit. Oh, who's shooting me? Oh, it's the turret, isn't it? Yeah, the Skyrim creation kit is probably one of the only other game development tools that allows you to really sort of create your own gameplay or create your own games. Most of the other creation kits and stuff around are designed for you to make more of the same, to make more of what's already been delivered. I think with the really smart thing about Half-Life 2 is that it's just a really cool kit to make different kinds of games. and that's why I keep coming back to it. And you know, I've made Left 4 Dead levels, I've made Portal stuff, and I like all of those games very much. I think Portal's good because you can come up with sort of new experiences, but I think Half-Life 2 really gives you the ability to make different games every single time. And by games I mean, you know, just changing the rules of the gameplay every single time. Left 4 Dead 2 is great, but it is a very sort of defined experience. I think it's the co-op element of Left 4 Dead 2 that gives you the variety. It's how different people play. So playing with other players whenever possible on Left 4 Dead or Left 4 Dead 2 is always advisable, because that's what really adds the fun, I think. So lots going on. Lots of, you know, you're constantly being reminded that this cannon is incredibly dangerous and will kill you at a given time. Here we are with Combine versus zombies, and me throwing things adding to the mix. The player is really just another faction, if you like. Antlions, rebels, Combine, zombies, and so on. I think it's mixing those up is great. I'm trying to think of a time anywhere in Half-Life 2 or Episode 2, Episode 1 where you have more than two factions at the same time in a space fighting each other. You know, so you've got like zombies and antlions and Combine all together in one space. I don't think so. I think there's sort of antlions versus zombies at the beginning of the mines, in the mines in this one. There's zombies versus Combine in the hospital in Episode 1. You keep looking at those combinations and just see if they come up with anything, but maybe someone should do it. Okay. So this is kind of fun. I like this this kind of gameplay where you sort of have the advantage, the height advantage, and you can really sort of take them by surprise. That went a lot further than I expected. Shotgunner. Giving the player a height advantage is good. Height is a really, really powerful thing in first-person shooters. If you give Combine the height advantage, it creates a hell of a lot more challenge for the player. And bearing in mind, we already know that the player is very good at playing this game, probably. Creating as much challenge for them as possible is a good thing, as long as it's fair. That's great. So putting the player at a height disadvantage really does up the challenge level, and I think that they should the player should always be challenged like that. I think the Combine always deserve a healthy advantage, not by throwing hundreds of them at you, but actually giving them height advantage and also sort of a strategic advantage. So this is really subtle. Look at this. So the air is being sucked into this space, and it's really just giving you the best player direction as to what it's like. Something is supposed to go in here. You know, everything is going into this space, and you know, here's some grenades. Here's your grenade, and if you were to put something like that in your map without that air going into it, I think the player might struggle to understand what it was they were supposed to do. Because obviously you can't see anything in it that's sort of blind. I mean, obviously the crate would be a good indication that there's obviously something to do with grenades, because we've given you an endless supply of them. Clearly there's an action you're supposed to take. But I still think that it's that subtle airflow that really does that. So that was a good bit too. So they knew that we were going to come out crawling, and so why not have a zombie towering over you at that point, sort of stepping around the corner, and not really that dangerous, because you can't really do that much damage, but certainly adds to the sort of drama of the situation. So now we've taken out the cannon, you know, the tables have turned and things have changed a little, and we now have zombies to deal with without the help of the cannon. So there's quite a nice thing to think about there, where the player's actions have changed the scenario, but also created a different challenge. And we talked about turning the thumpers off in a previous video. Turning the thumpers off basically brings the antlines in and changes the game essentially. The combine, and you now have antlines to deal with. So this is a vehicle gate, as we call it. We've seen gating the player, the vehicle several times. It's actually a player gate, sorry, not a vehicle gate. What it's doing is basically saying you cannot proceed without the car, because this toxic goo will kill you, but obviously in the car you're immune to it. So you need a decent stretch of toxic goo for the player to be able to not run through it without dying, which is what this is providing. And I've had to come up with so in deep down my original mod, which I'm redoing at the moment, I came up with a mechanic where the car was able to take down combine force fields, and that allowed me to sort of gate the player and prevent them from moving forwards until they had the car with them. It was a way of making sure they always had the car with them. And it was a bit clunky, to be honest. I don't think I had really looked at episode 2 properly to see what sort of gates there are. And really, there are 2 gates for a vehicle if you're going to make a vehicle map. There is a jump gate, because you can jump much further with the car than you can anything else. And there is the toxic goo gate, and those are the 2 that I can really come up with. There may be others. If someone knows, please do post on here, because I'm looking for other ways to stop the player from proceeding without the car. And at this point we're getting told that we have the tracking ability now to pick up these lambda caches, which are going to be in lots of smart, clever places. And this is kind of just extending that lambda cache concept from the original Half-Life 2. But I really love the way they've peppered these things all the way through the landscape, and that's certainly something that I'm going to be doing. And I think this added a lot of replay value for me, was finding these and the little mini games associated to obtaining all of them to get the achievement at the end of it. It's something that I've tried to do in previous mods and not done so well at, but I think yeah, this time I'm going to do hopefully a lot better. Alright, I'm going to stop this now and start another video in a minute. I'll speak to you in a sec.